That's right. Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? I'm Ann Eller. Yes, we're back on the air this afternoon. Hope you've had a great day. Certainly has warmed up into a lovely day here today. And we have two great guests with us this afternoon. We're going to be talking about the Child Evangelism Fellowship and the Good News Club. Couldn't we all use some good news? Yes, we could. And we're here this afternoon with Roxanne Lindholm. She is the local coordinator. She graduated for a degree in BS. What's BS? Okay, in communications. There you go. In 1991, and an MA in nonprofit leadership and theology in 2004. She's worked in ministry to those who need. She was hired in 2021 as the local coordinator. Roxanne is also married to her husband Daniel and has two beautiful children. Also with us this afternoon is Alicia James. She is the minister coordinator, and she graduated with a BS in economics. That's right. And graduated with a master's in education, counselor education, and more, and more. So both of them are here, and they will want to talk about child evangelism and what all we can do and how the Good News Clubs are making a difference in our schools. So welcome to y'all this afternoon.
Wow, thanks, Ann. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So Roxanne, excuse me. Roxanne, what is the Child Evangelism Fellowship?
Okay, so this is a little long, so hang with me. So, Child Evangelism Fellowship is a Bible-centered, interdenominational, worldwide ministry composed of born-again believers whose purpose and mission is to evangelize boys and girls with the gospel of Jesus Christ, disciple them in the Word of God, and establish them in a local Bible-believing church for Christian living.
Now, what does that mean? Wait a minute. What does that mean now?
Well, that is what our purpose is, and we accomplish that through our different ministries, such as Good News Club, which is what people are probably most familiar with.
And what is a Good News Club?
So a Good News Club is a club that happens in schools and community locations. Most of ours right now are in schools, so it's an after-school program for us, and it happens one day a week, normally for 4 sessions of 5 weeks. And so when kids get out of school, their parents have signed them up for Good News Club. They come into...
They're hoping for something.
Yes.
Yeah, let me put them in the Good News Club, see what we can get there.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. So they come into a Good News Club, and we start them off with what's called grade shepherding time. And we have a bunch of grade shepherds. And so they put their backpacks down, and they go to a table with their grades. So kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And during the grade shepherding time, the kids present their prayer requests. And the prayer requests get taken and put into our God can, because God can't answer prayer. And the churches will pray for those during the week. They also have their snack, and they will turn in their jam-up sheets as well. So their jam-up sheets...
Oh, come on now. Wait a minute. We got the jam-up sheets. We got the God can. Come on, Roxanne. Now,
Yes.
listen. As I was listening to you, though, how do children maybe that haven't been exposed to this know this?
So the schools allow us to put the registration forms and a little description of what we do in the folders for the kids during, normally a few weeks before a club is going to start. So they go home in their folders. Some of the schools will even put it on its peach jar.
Yeah,
their
right. Social. It's like an email.
Yes.
Like a message board. A message board.
And so it goes home with all the kids so that their parents can find out about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just wondered, because if you haven't been exposed to this, how do you know how to pray?
Yeah. And so a lot of times the kids will actually, when they come, will start talking about it, and the other kids will want to come as well. So that's a lot of times how we'll get kids who may not know about it, may not be interested in it, to actually come to club is when the other kids start talking to them about Good News Club.
Now, that brings up another question. Do the majority of people that sign up for this, are these already children that are going to Sunday school or in the church?
I would say the majority are not. Yeah. And so most of the kids do not attend church on a regular basis. And so what ends up happening is that Good News Club becomes their church.
Okay. Okay.
And during some of the lessons, they learn about what prayer is and that they can pray. And so all that teaching is coming along, within the lessons that we have.
Sure. I just was curious because if you, go to put it in the God can, I mean, and about the what's a jam up sheet now? Go ahead and tell us what that is.
So a jam up sheet, jam up stands for Jesus and me, and it's designed for children to have quiet time with the Lord each night. And so there's an activity for 7 days. After they leave Good News Club, they can do one activity a night and have some quiet time with the Lord. And if they bring their jam up sheet back, a lot of times they'll get some sort of prize. They might get a piece of candy, they might get a sticker, and sometimes if they do stickers, like they get a certain number of stickers and they get something. So the clubs are very creative in how they reward the kids.
I use that same technique with Penny, my dog.
And Penny's doing very well.
And she is doing quite well. You're right.
And so when all that's done, normally they'll use the restroom and do all of that. And then they move into the class hour time. The class hour time starts off normally with a song. So the goal with our Good News Clubs is to get the kids up and down and keep them interested for that class hour. We have a lot of kids who have ADHD, have certain situations, and we want them to be able to enjoy the club and get the most out of it as well. So we start out with a song, and all of our songs have hand motions, and they're, peppy and all of that. Then we have rules, and the rules are designed so that if the kids follow them, they can win a quiet seat prize. And a quiet seat prize, again, our clubs get real creative. Some of them have them out on a table where the kids get to choose their quiet seat prize. I mean, we've seen all kinds of different things from our different clubs. And so we go through the rules. Normally there's another song, and then we present the Bible lesson for that week. Now, what makes CEF unique is that every time we do a Bible lesson, we share the gospel with kids. And so they're going to hear it every week. It's not going to be the same every week. It's going to be presented a little differently. And at the end of the Bible lesson, we give them an opportunity then to respond to the gospel. Now, for those kids who do respond to the gospel, we do a counseling time with them. Now, the counseling is not really telling them anything. We are trying to find out if they understood what they heard during the Bible lesson. And so we ask them a lot of questions. We try to make sure that they understood. And then if they seem to have understood, we present our condition promise verse again to them. So John 3:16, would you like to believe and have eternal life? And if they say yes, which is the most exciting thing about the club, then we pray a prayer of affirmation with them. We give them some promises from God's word. And then we teach them how to grow in Christ. Now, while the counseling time is going on, we've done another song, and we've moved on to the memory verse. So we do a memory verse each time. And the memory verse time includes a game. So the kids get to play all these different games and learn their memory verses at the same time. And that makes it a lot of fun. And then we'll normally have another song and then at least do a review game. And the review game is a time for the kids to tell us what they remember from the Bible lesson. So they don't really get any prizes. They might get points, and yet those kids during the review game will yell and scream and cheer for their team to win that review game because they want to win.
Right.
And so when that's over, clubs have an opportunity to do a couple other things in there if they have time. But then they'll go back to their grade shepherds, get their jam up sheet for the next week, put them in their backpacks, and they'll be sent on home with mom and dad.
Well, that's quite an intense. Now, that's 1 day a week?
Yes.
1 day a week.
Yes.
And that is every week while they're in school?
We do 4 sessions of 5 weeks. So our goal in the fall is to be done before the holidays.
Right.
And then in the spring, we try to have our clubs done before that state testing kicks in.
Yes.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, Alicia, how did you get involved in the Good News Clubs?
I think the first time I ever heard about it, I actually was in church, and they were looking for volunteers to staff their clubs. And actually, I was able to volunteer eventually, and I was one of the coordinators for one of the schools, actually, in Abbeville County. So I was actually the school coordinator for that club, and then it just continued. I would bring my homeschooling too with me, and they would participate in the clubs right along with me. And then eventually I became on staff, so for the past 4 years.
Right.
So.
Now, you had told me before we went on the air that you used to be a counselor and you were frustrated in the schools.
Exactly. I was a guidance counselor for 9 years in both South Carolina and North Carolina. And one of the things that was frustrating was because I could get families would be sharing, their children would share, the parents would share but I could tell what they really needed was to hear the gospel. But I couldn't share. I didn't have the freedom to share because I was a public school staff person. So we had to, I would get around it sometimes. I was like, well, what are you doing on this weekend? And if they said anything about church or going to church, I would just open the door and let it fly. But, I would be respectful, because of that. But now, as a part of the CEF and the Good News Club, I can just, that's all I get to do. So I'm very excited now. So.
Very excited.
Yes.
So what role do you actually play in the...
Well, a good part of what we're talking about is once we've trained the volunteers to go around to do the different clubs, I will go back around, follow up with them, kind of review. I don't like to say evaluate, but I'm kind of, making sure that if they need any help or support, I like to say I'm a support personnel. So when I go, I had the opportunity Monday and yesterday to be able to go to the clubs, encourage the staff, encourage the volunteers, and just be able to, if they have any problems with their, we have all our lessons on computer, so if they have any technical problems like they did yesterday, I try to help them as much as I can. So that support is really what I'm looking for to do. And I also love to be able to work with the kids. I love to be able to tell them about Jesus as well.
Well, I would be interested to know how successful you think the program is. Alicia, from your experience in dealing with children and seeing them through the ages, what do you feel?
I think this is probably the best and most organized presentation of the Good News. And because of that, even though we can think, oh, this is not the best lesson, every time we have children that are professing faith, they are remembering the scriptures. They are learning the Bible verses. So whether the impact is immediate or long term, they are holding it, and they are holding and catching on to it. And the best part about it, and this is one thing, when you're out in town, as they have grown up, and they are the waitress of several places I've been, I thought that was you. I thought that was you. You did the Good News Club. And they are so excited. It's one of their best memories from, we are primarily working kindergarten through 5th grade. So these are high school and beyond students that are working out in the world of work. And they still remember, especially if I have on this shirt, they remember. And they have positive feedback about it. So, like I said, whether it's an immediate response at the club, like we have salvations or professions of faith that day, or later on they remember with positive remembers of the Good News Club. So.
Sure. Now, I would be curious too, Alicia, what effect has it had on parents of these children?
That is the best connection, because we've had clubs that connect. The child is the connection between the church and the family, and so because of that, we've had a lot of wonderful stories where.
Can I tell one?
Yeah, you
Sure,
go ahead.
yeah,
Tell.
absolutely.
So in our local club at Pinecrest Elementary, this happened several years ago. This is pre-COVID. There was a young man who every week as his prayer request would put, "Please pray for my father who's in prison." So those are some of the types of prayer requests we get. And, you know, your heart just goes out to these kids.
Sure.
And every week he would put the same thing, "Please pray for my father who's in prison." So finally the volunteers of that club got together and said, "Can anybody go to the prison and see his father?" So it turned out there was one man who had, I guess, the right clearance to do that. And he went to the prison, met with the child's father. His father came to know the Lord. So the man went back again, and his father brought his friend. That friend came to know the Lord. And so the staff at the prison saw what was happening, and they came to this man and they said, "Hey, we have however many souls in this prison, and they need this. Could you guys start coming and doing this?" And so a whole prison ministry was started because this young man asked for prayer for his father. And that church even went to the extreme so that when the people would get out of prison, the pastor gave them his personal cell phone number to call him so they could get plugged into the church and kind of away from maybe the not so good influences that had them end up in prison to begin with.
Well, that's a huge story. Now,
Yeah.
what about the little boy and his dad? Did they connect?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
That's pretty huge. But I would wonder. The reason I ask that because sometimes children are getting good education here, but they may not be getting the follow through at home, or they may be getting the follow through then home and getting the buy-in from parents, because that's always a problem in the schools to get parents to buy into what children are doing in the schools.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have no control over,
Right.
that situation, but we know when we're there each week, at least the kids are getting biblical teaching.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we are the church for these kids whose parents won't take them to church. And that happens regularly. And there are many instances in club where a child started off one way and ends up another way, from being in club.
Yeah. And even just a matter of yesterday, a parent wanted her son is challenging from time to
Challenging?
time,
Okay.
busy, but she wanted to make sure, and the principal both of them wanted to make sure that the child could come back, even though they weren't the perfect ideal behavior. And we were saying, of course, please come back. So that cycle right there is something that is established, that parent sees the impact that the club is having on their child. They are being affirmed. They some kids don't ever get any affirmation.
Right.
For this child to be able to get affirmation is challenging. But he enjoys being a part of the Good News Club, and he feels safe there, and his parents want him there. So that's the positive
Absolutely.
feedback that we get.
Well, those type of things are important. Now, what is the goal, Roxanne? What is the goal of the club futuristically? You said you were in 11 different locations. What are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, we're hoping to cover every elementary school with a Good News Club. So that's what we want to, that's kind of our first priority, is to get all of our elementary schools covered and then add a few more community clubs. Because right now we have one community club that happens at the Pathway House, which
Okay.
is one of my favorite clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and what does it take to do that?
So, have you ever seen those pictures where there's a mountain under an ocean and the tip of the mountain is sticking out the top?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine the work that it takes to get a Good News Club going is what's under the water. And so for us, it just takes, talking to people, working with them, always sharing about who we are and what we do till we can gain enough interest. Then once we gain interest, if we have the opportunity to speak to a church about that, then we go and do that. We get people to sign up to become volunteers, and then they are completely background checked. I mean, really deeply background checked.
Not just one of those on the surface ones.
No.
Okay.
This is a really nice background check. And then once they're background checked, once they're set up to actually be able to volunteer, then we go in and we train them on how to do every part of the club. So we're not just throwing them in there with the materials and saying, here you go. We train them. And then if it's the first time a club is happening, Alicia and I will go and we'll teach the first 2 or 3 clubs. So she'll do a lesson, I'll do a lesson, I'll do a memory verse, she does a memory verse. We show them how to do it.
Right.
And then after about 2 or 3 times, then we hand the club off to the volunteers to do from there. And then Alicia will then follow up and be support for them for the rest of the year.
Well, that sounds great. Now, so it sounds to me like it's pretty volunteer intense.
Yes.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So I guess one of the things that you would like to do is to be able to expand. Now, my question is, you mentioned about going to a church. Is each club working with a church, or?
We have some clubs that are sponsored by one church, but we have some that are sponsored by multiple. So it can work either way.
Okay, because that's another question as far as how, I mean, do you actually work first through the churches, or do you work through individuals?
Both.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you're totally flexible, Roxanne?
That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah. It's amazing that sometimes people just don't realize that Good News Club is available, that you can go into schools and public schools and tell people about Jesus. That sometimes strikes the heart in people. And sometimes it's not a full church church that's big enough to have, 12 people to come out and support a school. So we may have 1 or 2 over here, 1 or 2, and we can put them together, and they can support and work with the students in that particular school.
That does bring up a good question. The challenge between religion and state. So how does that work as far as the Good News Club?
So when CEF first started in 1937, our founder, Mr. O, he would start by training people to do clubs in neighborhoods and community centers and things like that. And this went on for years. He went from national to international and did this all over the place. But in 2001, in what can only be described as an act of God, a case went to the Supreme Court. And if you read it, it's Good News Club versus Milford County. And at that time, the Supreme Court gave us the right, just like any other after-school program, to go into public schools and hold a Good News Club. So if there is any after-school program at all in a school, a Good News Club has to be allowed in with it.
That's interesting. Because, we have all these conflicts that go on about where does religion fit with schools and vice versa. So that's very interesting. So if somebody is interested, what do they do, Roxanne?
Well, they can do many things. They can go to our website, which is www.CEF, which stands for Child Evangelism Fellowship, lakelands.com. And they can read the information, fill out the new volunteer application form, and go from there. They can call us at 864-554-8290 and talk to us about volunteering. And if they would like for us to speak to their group, we're very portable. We can go anywhere. We have all the equipment. We can show up and do a presentation anytime.
Wow. So now who supports you two? Roxanne, I believe you're being paid, yes, to do this.
We are the paid staff.
You're the paid staff.
Yes.
So how do you get support for paying the staff, just out of curiosity?
From donations.
From donations.
Yes.
So that's a pretty hefty lift, isn't it, all the time?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do anything with grants or?
It's difficult for us to obtain a grant because we're not a direct aid ministry. And so because we are a religious-oriented ministry,
Right.
we don't really qualify for many grants. So all of our donations right now come from private donors and private businesses.
Okay.
But we could definitely use more.
You can definitely use more. Hey, we're here with Roxanne Lindholm and Alicia James, and we are talking about good news, and we all could use a little good news. I know you'll agree. When we come back, we're going to talk about a upcoming banquet that they have, a pickleball tournament, and some other things that might interest you about the Good News Club here as we talk about Child Evangelism Fellowship right here on WCRS Radio. We're going to hear a few words from our sponsors. They keep us on the air, so we'll be right back. Don't you go away. This is WCRS right here in Greenwood at 637 East Durst Avenue. Take it away.
Trashy Lake Greenwood or pristine Lake Greenwood? The choice is yours, Greenwood. Your opportunity to keep Lake Greenwood beautiful is in your hands. Join us on Saturday, March 14th for the really big annual Lake Greenwood cleanup. Donate yours and your family's time. All supplies provided for the cleanup, and yes, there is a free lunch. When? Saturday, March 14th, 9 to 12. Register at our Facebook page, Keep Greenwood County Beautiful, or our website, keepgcb.com. Free lunch provided by Break on the Lake, Papa John's, Chick-fil-A, and Pepsi of Greenville. Be the solution, Greenwood, not the pollution.
Self-Regional Healthcare is currently hiring for clinical and support staff positions. At Self-Regional, we strive to create the best experience for our patients and our team members. We offer flexible schedules, competitive pay, and generous benefits in an environment that is supportive of your individual needs. Come see what makes Self-Regional a great place to work. View our current job openings at selfregional.org/careers.
I'm Roxanne Lindholm, the local coordinator of Child Evangelism Fellowship, Lakelands District. I would like to invite you to a free lunch so you can hear how the Lord is working in the lives of children at our fundraising banquet. The banquet will be held on Saturday, March 28th from noon to 2 p.m. at Harris Baptist Church, and donations will be accepted. Call or text 864-554-8290 to reserve a spot at the banquet by March 20th. Again, 864-554-8290.
Oh, that's right. We're right back here at WCRS Radio, and my very special guests this afternoon are Roxanne Lindholm. She's the local coordinator for let's give the whole name, Child Evangelism Fellowship, commonly called CEF, and also Alicia James. She's the ministry coordinator for CEF2. And if you've got a question or a comment, 864-332-9355. That's the number to call or text, 864-332-9355. Now, one of the questions I would have, and I guess maybe Roxanne on this one, how difficult is it to get it into the schools? You said you have 11 total, and I know there's a lot more elementary schools and whatnot in our area. Plus, you cover, what's the area you cover?
We cover Greenwood, Abbeville, McCormick, Saluda, and Edgefield counties. And so I think the challenging part is the time of day, because it's an after-school program, so it normally starts anywhere between 2:30 and 3 p.m., And for anybody that works, that's a very difficult time to be able to come and volunteer. And so most of our volunteers are retired.
Right.
Yes.
And so right now, my oldest volunteer is 85. It used to be about 94.
Yes.
So you're scaling down a little bit, moving back.
A little bit younger. And so that is, I think, the biggest challenge for us is finding people who are able to volunteer at that time.
Now, I would just be curious, and this is just, I'm just throwing this out here. Why could you not have high school students help lead in that? Because they would, if they had been, particularly if they'd been through the program, I would think they would be cheerleaders for the program.
Yes, we can.
So that would be the other end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, right now in one of our clubs down in Edgefield, we have I believe a 14 and a 15-year-old who had both been through Good News Club who are now volunteering. So it's just one of those things that if the kids don't have other activities, because when you're in high school, I mean, there's a bazillion things that those kids can do. Those two chose, because they enjoyed Good News Club so much, to come back and actually serve in a Good News Club.
That's terrific. Now, let me ask you something. So this is just for primary school?
Elementary school, yes.
Elementary school? Okay. So you don't do middle or high school?
We do have a program for middle school, but that's not something we're going to launch here until our elementary schools are covered.
Okay.
So it is called Junior Youth Challenge, and that's something that will be down the road for us a few more steps. But for high schoolers, we have a program that we have in the summer called Christian Youth in Action, and it's for 15 to 22-year-olds. Now, we explained what a Good News Club is. So these 15 to 22-year-olds come in, and we take them to Columbia International University for a week. Yes, we stay in the dorms with them. We eat with them. Yes. And we train them on how to do 5-day clubs, which is basically a Good News Club format. Mm-hmm. And so they learn how to do all aspects of a 5-day club in that week. And then after that, we come back here to our area and we put on 5-day clubs. And those clubs happen 5 consecutive days. They're very similar to Good News Clubs, except they have more games. We give them kind of take-home bags every day based on the theme. You know, just a few different
Sounds
things.
like a revival almost.
A little bit.
5 days. I mean,
Yeah.
5-day type thing. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so we have held those. We will normally do one at the Pathway House each year. And then we've done all the rest of them at churches.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of smaller churches that don't really have the ability to do a VBS. Mm-hmm. That's where we come in. We bring the 15 to 22-year-olds, and they do the whole club. We sit back, and we are support, and we get to watch and just have fun with the kids.
And they are teaching what? Then they are teaching what age group?
Same age group.
Oh, okay.
So kindergarten through 5th.
Okay, so they are coming back and helping out with the younger children. That's a very interesting program. Now, I know you are getting ready to have a dinner, free dinner, or free dinner, free lunch?
Free lunch.
Yes.
Free lunch?
Yes, we are having our fundraising banquet on March 28th. And at this time, we're going to share many more stories about what the Lord's doing in clubs. We could just spend hours telling you different things that the Lord has done in the lives of these kids, but we're going to save some of that for the banquet. So if that is something that interests you and you would like to know how you can support us and what our plans are for the future, we would invite you to come.
Okay, and do they have to reserve a spot?
That would be fantastic by calling 864-554-8290.
Okay, and I think you wanted them to call by the 20th, is
Yes.
that right? Yes, by the 20th, and the program is on the 28th. Now, where is it at and what time of day?
It's at Harris Baptist Church from noon to 2.
Noon to 2. And donations, the lunch may be free, but donations would be nice, right?
Yes, it is a fundraising banquet, so we are trying to raise some funds and awareness as well.
Right. That sounds great. Now, that's going on, but then you have also, what do you have? You have a pickleball tournament coming up.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is pickleball. I'm leaving today to play pickleball.
Okay.
So yes,
Alicia, do you play pickleball?
I play pickleball too. I don't play as much as she does because she plays indoor and outdoor.
Oh,
I'm
see.
completely indoor so far.
So far, you haven't gone out there.
I haven't gone outside.
All right.
So we'll be having a pickleball tournament on April the 18th.
Okay.
And we will have 2 different locations, the Greenwood Recreation Center and Gatewood. And people can sign up again on our website, that www.ceflakelands.com. And we'd love to have people come play. It's for a great cause. Pickleball is super fun.
Right.
And so I think everybody should come and play and sign up and have a great time.
And are you a wicked competitor, Roxanne?
I'm working on it.
And see, that's why I play just indoors. I have to play with the seasoned ladies they like to have fun.
Roxanne is serious about this.
They are serious.
That's what you're
They're
telling me.
serious.
Yeah, she's serious about it. Yeah, I understand, and people do get pretty serious about it. Yeah,
Yes.
and it certainly has. I think it's really interfered with the game of tennis, hasn't it?
Well, all I can say is when we go out to the recreation center, the pickleball courts are almost always full. The tennis courts might have a couple people on there, except when the high school comes out and practices.
Right.
Other than that, there's normally just a couple of people at a time on the tennis courts.
So that's a big thing. Well, that sounds great. Now, it is a. Are you going to have different levels? How is this tournament structured?
Yeah, for everyone who's coming in, we're going to have women's doubles, men's doubles, and mixed doubles. And the levels start at 2-0, and they'll go up to 4.5 plus. So there's basically a level. If you're just starting, if you've just picked up a paddle, you're going to be a 2-0.
Okay.
But for those people who are very good, they can play in the 4.5 plus category.
Okay. And is this an all-day tournament, or how does this work?
The men's and women's will happen kind of in the morning, like 8 to about noon, and then mixed doubles will be in the afternoon from like noon to 5.
Okay. And when is that tournament?
April 18th.
April 18th. So that is coming up. It still won't be too hot, hopefully.
Lord willing.
Yeah. All right. That sounds great. So, Alicia, what else would you like us to know about the Good News Club? What's your experiences and everything?
I just really, again, the opportunity right now is that we have that opportunity to go into the schools. We want to maximize that. We want to reach as many children as we can. We want to love on them, and we want to share with them the only thing that will ever change their lives forever. So we really want to make that impact and connect, be that bridge to connect the children and families to church. So we want to be that. For some people, coming to a building that's with stained glass is a hard thing, but hopefully getting to meet us in a different venue, they'll see we're not so bad. We're not so bad.
How important do you think this is in today's world, Alicia?
I really think it's critical because, again, with so much bombardment of everything coming at children at their fingertips, literally, they can do and find anything. We are that. We're being that hope. We're being that voice of God, that ambassador for Christ, to be able to, reach the families.
That's terrific. And I think that sometimes we get so wound up in the world we forget about peace and having a stability particularly in our children's lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how many organizations, Roxanne, do you think you can open this year?
Well, we just opened a club down in Edgefield County,
right,
at Douglas Elementary, where there has never been a Good News Club in the history of our chapter. And so that gives you hope? Is that what you're telling me? Yes. Yes. When you're praying and praying and praying that somebody's going to come along to become a church partner. And that one's harder for us because our office is here in Greenwood.
And you probably don't have as many connections down there.
That's correct.
Yes.
And so when this church came along, what a blessing. And now it looks like we may be able to get something going at Diamond Hill Elementary this year as well. So we're still working on all the rest. So in Greenwood, we need Lakeview and Woodfields covered. Up in Hodges, we can't do it in the school because they don't have room for us. So we kind of need an off-site location and a church or churches that will come together to do an off-site club. And then in Abbeville, we need Long Cane, we need Westwood, we need Cherokee Trail. And then in Saluda Primary and Elementary, and Hollywood, we've got nothing going on in Saluda right now. We had some people...
Well, there's a problem right there, folks. Nothing going on down there.
Yeah.
We had some people who were leading our club, but they had to leave, and that kind of, it broke everything up. And then in Edgefield...
At least you've had a club down there,
yes,
though.
we have.
So that's a plus.
In Edgefield County, we need Johnston Elementary covered, and we could use a community club for around W.E. Parker as well.
Mm-hmm. And before COVID, we had almost all those schools covered.
Wow.
And so COVID did significantly impact volunteerism as well, and everything. As we all know, it just really impacted the really funding, everything. So
Absolutely.
we really are rebuilding. And so hopefully our goal is to get back to where we were and go beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything else that we would like to talk about, Roxanne? What else would you like to talk about here today?
Well, I just want people to know that, a lot of times people don't feel like they have anything to give, that they could never serve or do that. But we provide all the training that they would need in order to do any one of those jobs in a Good News Club. And again, my oldest volunteer right now is 85 years old.
Yes.
And it used to be a 94-year-old. So I figure if they can do it, then pretty much anyone can do it.
Right, right. I think probably one of the hesitations would be it's hard to handle kids in today's world. I mean, some of them just, how do you handle a group of 20 kids or something?
You would be surprised. We really don't have many problems in our club. There might be a child here or there who really has a hard time sitting still. But we had a situation when we had a club down in Saluda where there was a young child who she could not sit still during the Bible lesson at all. I mean, crawling all over the place and everything. So I would get her up and we'd just go to the back of the group and we would stand so she could move and she could do her thing. When it came time to the review lesson, she could answer all the questions about the Bible lesson. She was listening. It's just she couldn't sit still. And so we just try to find ways to make it so that they can still be a part of the club, but not really, we're not trying to put them in a box or anything. We want them to be themselves, but keep order in the club at the same time.
And to piggyback on that same child moved into one of the schools up here, and completely different.
Yeah.
And she's still busy, but she's focused and she's believed on Jesus as her Savior, and you can see the change that's happening in her heart and in her life and her behavior as well. So it's good. It's good. A young man just the other day, they had creative ways. They were letting him jump rope in the hallway, just so he could be the same young guy, so he could still be a part of the club. Again, when it comes time to answer the questions for the review game, he can do it. So, yes, they're challenging, but we were talking the other day, if we as believers don't invest in children, who will? Who will?
That is true. That is true. And it is something in today's world I think our children really need. We were talking a little bit before we came on air about the Charlie Kirk effect and what that is doing with churches and people going back into the churches. Roxanne, would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah, well, I've just been reading some research from George Barna that is showing that Gen Z is really now going back to church, and they're attributing that to the Charlie Kirk effect. So, that's probably our CYIA age, but, it's opened up their eyes to the need for a relationship with the Lord and to be in community. So all of that is a good thing.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you have so much going on, and sounds like you have a plan. You just need people to come on board. Is that right?
We are in need of volunteers. We definitely need more donors, and we need more board members. So if anybody is out there and they like what we do, their heart is being touched by the Lord to join with us, we would love to have you. We could use much more help to reach the goals that we've set.
That sounds terrific. And Alicia, what do you think? What would you like people to take away from this conversation today?
That they can do it. I know it seems like it's a lot of information that we gave in a short amount of time, but just one kid at a time, loving on that one kid at a time, just come and see what we're like. Give us a call. We'll get you set up and you can come visit a club, see what it's like, and see how you can get a part. But we always know, no matter where, if it doesn't work for you, you can always pray for us. And so that is definitely one of the roles that you can always play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is certainly a terrific program. We're talking about the Child Evangelism Fellowship. It's called the Good News Clubs in the schools and in the other clubs. So why not take an opportunity to call them? What's that number to call there, Roxanne?
864-554-8290.
Call that number, sign up, and go have a free lunch. What are you having for lunch?
Probably salad and sandwiches.
Salad and sandwiches. Okay, sounds pretty good.
And a dessert.
All right, and the dessert. See, she was going to leave that out.
No,
yeah,
cannot
okay.
leave the dessert out.
All right, and it's going to be at Harris Baptist Church.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's coming up on the 28th.
Yes, ma'am.
The 28th. So that is a Saturday, I believe. Yes. And what's the time again?
Noon to 2.
Noon to 2. Why not take that opportunity to get together with a couple of your friends and come out and see if it might be something that you can be part of?
Yeah.
I mean, you really need to put your money where your mouth is, right? Yes. Everybody talks, right? Everybody talks about, these kids and all the problems and all this kind of stuff. Well, why don't you become the solution to this problem, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
I mean, the kids respond so well. And it takes about 5 seconds after getting in club just to fall in love with these kids. They are just adorable. Even the bouncy ones are just, you just fall in love with them. And, you get to know these kids. They get to know you. You'll be out in a store.
Exactly.
You'll get tackled. I've been in different places, and I've just had a child come up and tackle me and then leave. And I was like, okay.
Right.
So, they respond really well to Good News Club and to the volunteers.
I think children respond to anything that's good and positive. I really do. We do. I worked with Greenwood Performing Arts, and we did Blues in the Schools type program. And I'll remember the first time we did it, this was over at Benjamin Mays, and that they had the children write up what instrument they would like to learn, anything from the piano, keyboard, guitars, etc. And I was standing there showing somebody and, just chuckling about why these children wanted to learn these different instruments. And because of what they wrote, they got in to be able to learn with an expert. And so the kids are coming out now. They're lined up. They're walking back to their rooms. And I looked at the kids and I said, well, did you have a good time today? And this one little black boy came over and threw his arms around me, and he looks up at me, and he goes, best day ever. Yeah, so
Yes.
I know exactly. And young children, in that primary up through about 5th grade, you can really influence them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to start the impact before all the other things get going.
Right. So I think that is so important to be able to impact children in a positive way. And then eventually they're going to make up their own minds anyways, aren't
Yes. Yes.
they? Yeah,
Absolutely.
they are. Well, we are just about ready to close it out. Roxanne, anything you'd like to say in closing here today?
Well, it's been a pleasure having the opportunity to share the ministry. We like to say we've been the best kept secret, and we don't want to be a secret anymore. We want people to understand that they have the ability to go into a public school and tell children about Jesus. You know, I hear people saying, oh, things have gone downhill since, you know, they took
Prayer out of school.
and all of these things. And I always say, well, if there's a good news club there, that's not the case, because there's a lot of praying. There's a lot of Jesus happening in good news clubs.
There's a lot of Jesus happening in good news clubs.
Yes.
That's an interesting way to put it, right? Well, and what about you, Alicia? Alicia, I got to tell you, Alicia was a little nervous about doing this, but she really has done a great job here today.
Yeah. Well, I guess, again, just echoing the same thing. You can do it. And we have to be the ones to make, if we want to share the good news, we're the only ones that are going to do it. So come on. You can do it. They can do it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, are you telling me, is this Good News Club, is it across the world?
Yes.
I mean,
we are in every country right now but 4. And prior to COVID, we were in every one but 1.
okay.
And so we're working to get back in all the rest of those countries. And the thing about CEF is over 90% of the CEF workers are nationals. And I always heard that statistic, but it wasn't until this past weekend when we had a trainer come from National, and she explained that in a situation where there's a war, like in Ukraine or something, if you have Ukrainian nationals there, they're not going to flee when war comes. They're going to stay and still minister to the kids. And so what a great testimony, you know, to CEF and having all of these nationals that are CEF workers in their own countries.
Absolutely. Well, this has been most interesting. I hope you will check it out. Roxanne, give them that number one more time if they've got any questions.
All right, that's 864-554-8290.
So there you go. I think that is going to do it for us today. It has been a pleasure, as always, to be right here on the air with you this afternoon. I'll be back in the morning because, you know, that's what I do. So if you don't get to tune in, earlier, you know, you can always go back and see it on Facebook at WCRS Radio. Or if you don't like to go to Facebook, you can always go on our website, WCRS1450am.net. All the shows, everything I've ever said is right there. I cannot hide from it at all. So please check it out. Their interview, if it's not posted tomorrow, will be posted by the following day on our website. But tonight, after we get finished in about an hour, it's going to be right there on Facebook. I hope you'll share this and tell other people about it and get other people excited about sharing the good news, because you know what? We sure could use some good news. I'm Ann Eller. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much
for having us.
Absolutely. This is WCRS. Bye-bye, everybody. Be back in the morning. Take it away with some music, and we just dropped the curtain, so here we go. Bye-bye, everybody.